Okay, let's talk about what does it really take to build a business model that creates residual income that can set you free from the rat race. I feel pretty well qualified to talk about this because I've done it a couple of times and I've made mistakes as well. So the very first time that I built a business that set me free from the rat race, I was, what would I have been, early 30s, and I developed a website and a goal setting system which started generating me an ongoing residual income stream. And I was able to quit my job through doing that. And then through a series of mistakes that I made, right? So I'm not perfect. I have made mistakes and I've had failures and learnt from them. I lost that business, right? So then I went back and got a job. And then the second time I broke free from the rat race, I built a network marketing business, right? I built a 5,000 people downline in 23 countries using a lot of the internet marketing techniques that I use, today. And that was going along great. That set me free from the rat race. I had nearly a six-figure income from that. And then the company changed the compensation plan and my income just plummeted overnight. And it taught me a lesson, right? It taught me the lesson that if you don't own it, then it's not true freedom. Even though at the time I had, nearly a year there where I didn't have to work because I had a pretty solid income coming in from that network marketing business. But if you don't own it, if it's not an asset that you own, you can't rely on it, right? And it taught me a lesson, and I decided then at that time that I was never going to build somebody else's asset. I was only going to build my asset in the future, right? And then this third time, I've gone about it the right way. I've built several businesses now that I currently own and operate that generate me, multiple six figures in revenue residually. So I feel pretty well qualified to share with you exactly what it takes for you to be able to replicate what I've done. So let's look at, there are 5 keys that I think you really need to consider if you want to build a business model that has residual income coming in. The first key is you. Now you need to understand that if you were brought up like I was in a standard Australian family, right? Maybe you're in another country, loving parents, good intentions, but they were brought up by parents who were brought up in the Depression era. So they were very focused on security, income security, and a sense of security. So their whole plan for their kids was to go to school and get a good education, and then go and get a good job, and then work for 40 years, save some money, buy a house, pay it off, and then settle down and retire on whatever money the government gives you when you retire at 60 years of age, right? And so if you've come from a background like that, or some other sort of background that's not conducive to building a business that creates residual income, then you need to go to work on you, right? There's just no two ways about it. It doesn't matter what business model you look at. It doesn't matter what plan you run with or what the latest overnight, thing to make money is. None of that matters if you're not right. And that's why I had 2 failures. I failed twice. I had success and then failure, right? And I had to grow and develop as a person. So in order for you to become the type of person who's worthy of having a six-figure residual income business, there are certain ways you need to think. There's certain beliefs that you need to have. You need to have an empowered mindset. You need to be able to produce results and focus your energy in on, creating assets that you can leverage for money. So that requires a certain amount of discipline, focus, setting the right targets, having the right understanding around what business is and what it isn't, and what generates income. And, for me, I had to go and work on myself a lot. I went through a lot of personal development courses. To this day, I still go to Toastmasters, which is where I learnt to speak in public. Why? Because if you want to have a business that generates residual income, it's almost certain that you're going to need to be persuasive in the way that you talk, right? Or write, one of those two, or both, preferably, right? So there are certain skills and knowledge. Look, if you don't right now have a residual income stream that's setting you free from the rat race, then you need to grow as a person. That's where it all starts. There's just no two ways around that. You need new skills, new knowledge. You need to apply new levels of action and activity. And you need to build an asset that can be leveraged. Well, you need the knowledge and the skills and the personal drive to be able to do that. You've got to go to work on yourself, right? You've got to find a mentor who can lay out a blueprint for you, a step-by-step plan for you to build a residual income business. And don't make the mistake that I made in my first business, which was I had a business online in my early 30s, which was doing really well, but then I lost it, right? I could have avoided that if I just had a really good mentor who I could bounce ideas off and work with, rather than trying to do it all on my own. So find a good mentor. Find somebody who you believe can lead you to where you want to be as far as creating residual income. But it all starts and ends with you, who you are as a person. And it doesn't matter where you are right now, because look, I was a disaster, right? Early on, I really was. I was a musician, long hair, I drink too much and smoke dope and all that type of, my background was, they would have voted me the least likely person to succeed, right? But the one characteristic I had was hunger to be free, right? Free from having to have a job and having a boss. But everything else was against me. I couldn't speak, I had a lisp, I was introverted, painfully shy, all of that. You can change. It doesn't matter where you are right now. You can change, but you've got to go and seek out somebody who can help you and mentor you along the way. That'll fast track your results, and it's something I wish I'd done earlier. Now, today, I've got a number of mentors who I learned from, right? Key number 2, if you want to create a residual income stream, let's just talk for a moment what that means. That means that money is flowing to you, right, for work that you've done in the past. So why would money flow to you? Well, the only reason why money flows or moves in the economy, right? Money is just an energy that represents value. It's an exchange of value energetically, right? It used to predominantly be gold, coins, paper money, but that's all shifting. Look at cryptocurrencies, right? Money is digital now. It's just an energy. So why does money move? And how do you get money to move to you from the marketplace, right? And have that happen in a residual way rather than a trading time for money way. Well, the only reason why money will move to you is if you're putting value out in the marketplace. So it's an energetic exchange. Well, what's value? Value is solving people's problems, making their life easier. Solving people's problems is the easiest way to exchange value for money in the marketplace. Hands down. Anybody can do that. Anybody can go out and find a problem that a group of people have and create a solution and exchange that solution, solving of the problem, for money flowing back to them, and then automate that process, right? Automate that process for residual income. Anyone can do that. And that's why the business model we're going to talk about here at the Freedom Network is probably the hands down easiest business for anybody starting from ground zero to get set up and be successful at. But what that means, solving a problem means you have to create a product. There's different types of products. So I recommend products over services. If you deliver a service, then what are you effectively doing is trading more of your time for money, right? You may get a high dollar value for that time, but you can never get your time back. So you're better to put your time into creating a product, and then if you create the right type of product, you can exchange that for money, have that value exchange happening, automate that process, and have that ongoing into the future for you, right? 5 years ago, I created a little training course. Actually, it was a 6 DVD and a workbook, right, back then. It was called Get Started Painting. Now, the reality was I'd only just started painting myself a year or two earlier. I wasn't that good an artist, right? But I knew that if I could tap into the beginner market and put together a Get Started Painting course, that would be popular. And it was. It's been hugely popular. It's been my most successful product to date, right? And so now it's only available online, and I still get paid for the work I did 5 years ago. And that's what I mean. Create a product that you can leverage ongoing into the future, right? Digital products are best rather than services. But just think in your mind, what problem can I solve and put that solution into a product? And then how do I exchange that product for money in the marketplace, that value exchange, right? So key number 2 is you've got to find the right products. You've got to create the right products. It's much easier than what people think it is. The only time it becomes difficult is when you don't have key number 1 right. You're not getting the right help. You're not getting the right training, the knowledge and skills. You haven't got the right mindset, right? Well, if you've got all that right, then key number 2 becomes a no-brainer. It becomes quite easy, right? Find a problem, create a solution, research the solution, develop a solution, and productize it, and exchange that for money in the marketplace, right? That's all residual income comes down to, is just that, right? Key number 3 then. So you've got a product, and we want to exchange that in the marketplace. Well, we need to build the marketplace. We need to build an audience for ourselves. So you need to be good at audience building. And this is marketing, right? Marketing 101. Today, we live in the greatest time in history to build an audience. There's never been a time like it. It's never been easier to reach out around the world and build an audience. for yourself. I build an audience of 15,000 people for my Learn to Paint, using predominantly Facebook, YouTube, social media, right? Most of it's free. Now, I pay for advertising on Facebook and everything, but you can do it for free. You can do live streaming for free. You can put videos up all over the place, and you can build an audience for free. But you need to know how to do that. How do you make yourself so attractive that the audience is attracted to want to find out more about what you're doing? Attraction marketing is so important. How do you activate? People have an inbuilt fascination factor. They become fascinated with things if you know how to trigger it, right? And stimulate it and draw those people to you. They'll become fascinated with you, and you have this audience of people who are fascinated with you and what you're doing if you know how to do it right. But the tools are free. So there's no excuses for not learning marketing and applying audience building techniques. I'll give you a little hint about this, right? Human nature, if you go back 10,000 years ago when we were living in basically primitive sort of times, there was safety in numbers. People gathered together in tribes, in groups, and they looked for a leader. So 99% of people are followers, and they're looking for a leader of a tribe, right? If you know how to position yourself as a leader, someone who has a voice of authority, someone who has something to say that is solving a problem and adding value to the marketplace, you'll attract that audience to you. But you've got to do it in the right way, okay? So that's audience building is key number 3. It's all about marketing, attraction marketing. Key number 4. Now, when you've got an audience, you need to know how to influence them. You need to understand how to get them to say, yes, I want what this person has, right? I want something that they've got something. I want to get it. I want a little taste of what they're doing. I want to understand what they know. I want to apply the same strategies that they apply. And you've got to get them to say, yes, I want to pull out their credit cards and buy now, right? If you can develop that level of influence, then you can start to exchange money, and then you can automate that influence. You can, if you put together a really good webinar where it's highly influential and you persuade your marketplace to buy your digital products, right? Then you can automate that process. I've got webinars running right now. People all around the world are filtering into those webinars through the funnels I've developed, right? And I'm reasonably influential on those webinars, and they convert into sales. One of them converts to $1,000 sales. Now, that's not something that comes naturally for a lot of people to be influential, but you can learn that, right? You can learn how to speak with authority and influence, and you can learn basic human psychology, right? Understand what makes people tick, understand how to influence them and persuade them and get them to say yes, right? When you know that, then everything falls into place for you. So maybe you built products in the past and you built websites and things like that, but you didn't make any money. That's probably because you weren't building an audience and influencing that audience. There's only 2 ways to influence an audience, I believe. 2 main ways, right? First way is through your voice, through speaking. So you need to understand how to use your voice with authority. That's why I go to Toastmasters. For one, I don't learn everything there, but it gives me confidence and certainty to be able to speak in front of people, in front of a camera, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is you need to be able to write with influence, because a lot of sales online happens through emails, sales letters, blog posts. So you need to be able to write with some level of influence. Otherwise, you aren't going to influence people to buy, right? And to buy now. Pull out your credit card and buy. You're not going to get people to do that unless you know how to be influential with them, right? So you need to learn that. So key number 5, systems. So once we've got you right, we've got your thinking right, you've got the right mindset, you've got the right skills and knowledge that you're starting to acquire, and you're following a blueprint that's been mapped out for you. You get you right. Second thing is you start building products that solve a problem in the marketplace. Third thing is you start building an audience, right? And then we start to influence that audience, number 4. The fifth thing is when all that's working is to start to automate that, to put systems into place so that we have automated email streams, an automated marketing funnel, automated sales letters and sales videos and sales webinars, so that the whole, and automated product delivery, right? So we don't have to manually send them the product. It just happens automatically, right? So there's a bit of technology, but there's not a lot that you need. But you get your systems right and automate everything, and then you've got true residual income. So it might take you a period of time to set it all up, but then you can just generate income ongoing over time, right? You can keep adding to it all and developing it and growing it and testing it and tweaking it. But when you've got the core business model down and the systems down, it will generate residual income for you, right? There's no question about that. Now, how much will determine whether you pick the right market, the right niche, you develop the right products that they really want to buy. There's a lot that goes into it, but I can guarantee that if you get this, mostly right, that you will create a level of income for yourself that can be automated and can become residual, right? Definitely not passive. So I don't want you to confuse anything that I've said with this idea of passive income. Passive income, I think just the name of it has this connotation that I'm going to do nothing and earn money, right? If you figure that out, you let me know. But I know lots of people have looked for that holy grail, but there's very few genuine passive income opportunities out there, right? So that's why I refer to it as residual income, because it requires a ton of work, right? Setting it all up. Work that you won't get paid for until you've pretty much finished doing the work, right? But then you can get paid for it forever. Think about J.K. Rowling. She wrote the Harry Potter book, right? Imagine her when she was sitting down writing the very first book. She was a single mother. She was broke. She had hopes and dreams, but that was about all, right? And she had this idea for a book. And she invested however long in writing that book, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, put her heart, sweat, soul, everything into that book, right? And she got paid nothing during that period of time, right? Nothing. And she didn't know whether that was going to be successful or not. She just stepped out on faith, right? She just had this faith that that something good was going to come from it. And sometimes you need to do that. You need to decide to step out on faith, say yes to your future dreams and step out on faith. And so that's what she did, right? And then there would have been another year when she had the publisher. They would have been going through their editing and creating book covers and a marketing plan. Would have been a couple of years before she saw a red cent for that book, right? That's what residual income is. Now she'll be paid for that book for the next 20, 30, 40 years. No problem at all. And the film rights and everything that she's been able to leverage that piece of work. But you've got to have that faith during the building period, right? And then when you've got everything set up and you start to automate it, and that frees up your time to go and build more products, build new markets, build new business systems, right? You can do it. You just need to know where to start and get on the right path and then just focus your mind in on doing the work that's required. Hope this has been of help. Leave me a comment or a like and let me know. Cheers.